Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30.
A beautiful afternoon out there, and welcome to Thursday's edition of In the Newsroom. In our usual style, we have 3 topics to take you through. And the first has to do with our state here. And it is titled, Osun Election, Monitoring Groups List Threats. Well, I don't know what the threats are, but my colleagues in the newsroom that I will introduce shortly will. I'm happy they are part and parcel of the system. As men of the fourth estate of the realm, they know what we're talking about. And the second topic says 62% Nigerians without electricity. Credited to no less a person than the Minister of State Petroleum, Tim Free Silver. And this one coming from the federal government to the British government. It is time for looted artifacts to be returned home. Well, some of our cultural and historical materials, bronzes, looted more than 100 years ago by the British soldiers have been gradually returned. And the federal government is saying, specifically to the British government, emulate Germany and Belgium, and of course France and Canada, who have signed agreements to return our stolen artifacts. My name is Oladayo Olanipekun. I'm the anchor man for this Thursday in the newsroom. And like I told you, my colleagues are here in the newsroom to discuss and provide the answers to some of these issues I've just highlighted. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, just at home. Good afternoon, Dayo.
Thank you. Yes, welcome to the newsroom. And my own prince is here too. I call him Momoba. Well, good afternoon.
It's my pleasure to be here. Good afternoon.
And we hope the third guest will join us shortly. See, let me start from you. This apparition for the forthcoming gubernatorial election in Osun State. Are you apprehensive?
Yeah, I think let me use this one in Yoruba. Only I'm going to go and then I'll I believe that what is on ground now calls for everybody to be apprehensive. Last week I saw one. It's not that somebody told me, but I witnessed it. One of the campaigns of one of the political parties. And after the campaign, I saw these art guys bearing arms, guns, machetes, axe, shooting to the air after the campaign. And I asked myself, are we in a banana republic that we don't have law at all? We don't have anything, we don't have law enforcement yet. So for me, it's called for everybody to be appreciative. Let's put that way.
Oh, well, I'm coming to you. Yaga, you're not a stranger. You know, Yaga is a monitoring group.
Yeah.
Well, do you see their fears? Misplaced? That's apprehension?
Well, we all live within this environment, and I wouldn't say that the fears expressed by Yaga is misplaced, because even before they came in, we've seen cases whereby after the rally, the thugs will descend on those people, even journalists, are attacked. And unfortunately, this incident of attacks by thugs is common between the PDP and the APC. Those are the two major political parties who are contending for the governorship election issue. So their fears and concern, I think, is not misplaced at all.
you see, you have witnessed block passing by political parties. It is this, it is that, it is this, it is that. Why the escalation in political, political talks? Why? You need.
I think this we need to we blame our government, our leaders for that. Because like the one I just said now, I see no reason why somebody that is not licensed to carry gun, and you that you are the principal, you are away, and you do anything. And let me tell you, sir, if we fail to tackle this issue as we go on our electoral electionary, we have issues, and this will continue to be recorded because it has come to a stage where even they don't fear anybody, they don't care what happened, and they just do whatever they like. So I think we need to, personally, I will blame government and leaders for this kind of situation we find ourselves. And yesterday, I monitored this debate. It's a governorship debate organized by News. And I love the statement made by one of the candidates, a person of Akite, when Ruben Abati asked the candidate, "Are you going to buy votes?" The man said, "All of us that are standing here, I'm telling you now that we will not say the truth. And you just be pretending. And they are going to buy votes. No, those that will buy votes know that themselves, but we will not say the truth." And that is the issue. I will just be, just blame one another. It is you, it is not me.
But person.
Yeah, like Oba said, the two major political parties, the APC and the PDP. And I think that was what informed what one of the traditional rulers just said recently. You cannot, I need peace in my domain. You cannot come and cause problem, cause havoc, all in the name of, because you are supporting one person or the other. And these people that you said you claim to be supporting, they are not fighting each other. The leaders, they are not fighting each other. So they see themselves. So it is our
even yesterday we saw them.
And we saw them how they embrace themselves. Even they were kind of talking after the whole show. So they are they know themselves because they have interests across lines. So they don't fight. It is the followers that they just give themselves a nice feeling. So I will blame our leaders for that particular issue.
But one of the threats, according to Yaga, is the potential threat, according to the courtist.
I think maybe we should look at it from this point. And that is, we've always, these guys we call courtists, they deal with us. Maybe it's because this is their season to make some money. That's why their activities now is escalated, sort of, because even long before the elections, we have court clashes everywhere where they kill 2-3 people or more sometimes. So these are, we may now call it essential threats to the election, because those guys, I'll call them hard guys. And when you even, they are not the run on the main talks, but they are toughened guys. They carry arms and they do it with impunity. They don't care. They are everywhere, even in all the neighborhoods. We now have thugs or maybe court leaders who beat them. They now have them in all. Probably they have branches in all the local governments. They have their boys there. If there's anything that politicians want to do, they can compare and say, I'll give you 20 boys. If my boys in the area cannot, they are not enough, draft. So it's as bad as that. So there's no hiding away or running away from that part. And they've always been, they just activate them.
See, there is the National Peace Committee of General Salam Abubakar. In terms of political parties participating in the election, signing a peace accord, and that option will not be excluded. You see that signing of accord by political parties having an impact in the districts by Yada.
It's a one thing for the leaders to come together and agree that okay, we want this specific district. It is another thing for them to inform their followers, not to go against what they have
signed.
So they can come here, to sign, and the followers will join that thing at the back.
You think they don't have control over their followers?
They have control. They have control. It is what they want them to do, they will do. I mean, the leaders. It's what they want the followers to do, that they will do. So if the leaders now come out and okay, let's sign it, you sign it, the followers will be doing another thing. And signing I think it has become a kind of routine now. Each state or the elections to will come out, they come and sign the peace accord, and they will sign. But something other things will happen. And as a matter of fact, it is just I want to see it is just a mutual understanding. It's not legally backed that you must, once something happens, you take responsibility by it. It's just a mutual, okay, that in our state we don't want problem, we don't want this to happen. But with what is happening today in Osun, there is need for all the stakeholders to rise and to talk.
Wale, you just listened to Sheyi. He spoke of the signing of National Peace Accord as being routine. In essence, it doesn't have much impact. What's your take?
Well, it's not enough to sign a peace pact. I think what is of utmost importance is for those who are concerned, the key players, to be committed to peace. Because it's just an election, it's just a one-day show. Everybody will...
And it should not be war.
It shouldn't at all. So everybody should look at it as...
game.
Yeah, it's a game. It's really a game. And that's why I used to tell people that there's what we call the political class. If you don't belong to them, why bother yourself? Why do you want to kill yourself because of a politician? If anybody dies on the election day, that won't stop the election. That will not stop them from announcing the winner. That will not stop them from inaugurating the winner. So why make yourself a cannon fodder? So it's better for everybody to... I think what is the basis of this eating of the politics is maybe the utterances of some of the political actors. Because the moment you start saying certain things, your followers will pick it up from there and say, now it's fire for fire. So when you say things like that, or you say, this time around, we won't go take all this time. It's fight to finish. When you say things like that, it resonates directly with your followers. So they just say, the social candidate has said this. That's the person we are supporting. They have said we can use every means to ensure that we win. And it shouldn't be like that. It's an exercise that says, okay, power is in the thumb of the people. So if they refuse that, they are not giving you power, there's something you can do about it. There's something you can do about it. You just wait till another time. It's a 4-year ritual.
See, the another threat expressed by Yaga is the voters' inducement. The voters who sell their votes, you see them being conscious of the future implication of the attitude, or is it all about poverty or ignorance?
But funny enough, when I got through the report of Yaga, my local government was among those.
Which of the local government? Let's do your
I was so disappointed when I saw.
Each of them.
Look at the way I'm do that.
Oh,
So the federal. So you know, I have written a piece on this issue of it. I don't call it vote buy anyway. I call it vote trading.
Are you surprised by how local government is that? So please go ahead.
So I call it vote trading because there's a buyer and there's a seller. Buyers are the politicians, seller are the electorate. So it's just a transaction of I want to buy how much I do go back. So but the first thing means that if I want to go back to what happened yesterday during the debate. Honorable also said something. He said if we fail to stop this issue of vote buy, it will get to a stage whereby it is only those in power in government that will be ruling us.
That will be able to afford
that much. But individual how much, there's no way you have money that you have money more than government. So if there's no, if you have money more than, you cannot spend the way government would do. So if you don't curtail it now, it will also that will be the end result. So for me, it's called for all of us to, because this is not the kind of democracy we emphasize to practice or to follow.
We get involved in.
We are quick to say that we bought this thing from the US. It's not really, even if there are signs or there are ways of living. Yes, there's no perfect system. But this one of issue, like I said, the voice today, INEC, they have done very excellently well this time around. They've upgrading their system, technology. That now there's no issue of incident form. If this carry that, if you're able to read your talk,
Reverse.
No, before now.
Okay, before now. Okay, carry
I'll
that.
fill the
Incident form.
But now, if once your tongue cannot be,
and your face,
forget it. You are not. No, so if a politician now went to buy thousands of voter cards, it won't work this time around. But the issue of vote buy, that is the problem that is following this development. So I think people need to do something about it. If this democracy was tried, we must do something about this.
Well, I'm coming for the same topic. Somebody called it vote merchandising and said it may legitimize political mandate and undermine the electoral process. And let me ask the same question. Is it about poverty or ignorance? And what do you think the solution should be?
Well, I think partly, I won't say it's
Poverty of money?
it could be as a result of poverty of the mind, partly. But largely, I think it's more of a total loss of confidence in the political process.
A total loss of confidence in the political process.
You see people say, okay, if you collect the money, they will write the results. If you don't collect it, they will write the results. So if they offer you money,
but it's not ignorance. Is it possible now to write any result with the beavers?
And the issue now is that I think it builds on the political players, particularly the NGOs. Because if you say political parties,
like the Yaga is doing now.
Not to wait until the election
is there.
But to take up projects whereby they can go into the nook and cranny. Vote, so don't let them tell you that your vote won't count.
It will count.
This time around, INEC has improved. This is best. It's because our people don't know that now the voter is a king. That's why they will collect
peanuts.
200, 500. Sometimes 5,000. In Ekiti, they were giving people 500. They will tell you it's better to collect than not take anything. That even whether you collect, it's immaterial. So it's better to collect it and maybe vote for party. It has gotten to a point that they don't even see the difference between party A, B, and C again. Unlike when we have the MPN, the UPN, the GMPP, whatever, during the Second Republic. Every other PRP, you know the ideological background of those parties. You know the things that they cannot do. And for the purpose of emphasis, this issue of collecting money was legitimized in the first 16 years of the period. That's the truth. That's the truth. Because when you start inducing voters with one mudu of rice, one mudu of beans, gari, and all the rest, it became a widespread thing that, okay, even those people don't, that is not even their culture politically to give anything. They now discover that people, you don't give them anything, they won't go for you. If I could recollect specifically when former governor I was going for a second term, they had to start buying what do they call these things at this Indomie and the rest. I said, even if they give you a pack of Indomie, how much was it then? How is it going to take care of your family for how long? So these are the issues, and I think the what these guys are talking about is that if you don't, what she mentioned that that's what you should say, that if you don't find a solution to this issue of vote buying, it will be wahala.
Oh, okay. See your final state. Now that Wale just said that more public enlightenment and with the upgrade by INEC in terms of electoral control results, vis-a-vis what you used to know by former executive governor, global infrastructure, you see it having any effect? To collect anything you have with the year gas and other things, and this we are doing public enlightenment, you see taking money or gift not having any effect if thoroughly we are able to succeed in this public enlightenment.
But I want to let us know something.
You see voters collecting anything and voting their mind?
The present situation, I don't think to make. Like in my article, I asked the NOAA, National Electoral Agency, that it needs to.
It's dead.
This agency need to work, go to look at clean
and get people enlightened.
Because the real voters, we are not the real voters. The real voters, they are somewhere like in my. Let me use my local example. We are in one of my wards, one of our wards in that we have Ward 10, call it the Indigo, just a remote part of the pen.
But the voters they are
not watching. They are not watching what we are saying now. So they are the real one that we need to get this, because some of them just see that it's just a kind of gift. Mama, okay, let me collect it. So, that is the best thing that we need to get and to be enlightened that this thing you are doing is like you are just selling your future and the others of your children, and even that you want to get your bomb. But that is the area that we need to work more.
Okay, I know. Wale, I know you want to say. I want to last take. You see, INEC doing more in terms of moving the cubicle or not exposing the voters' cubicle to party agents.
You see,
because somebody said when we were having a media executive panel with the INEC, somebody said the cubicle, electoral cubicle seems too exposed that one can say after voting you can now say this is what I do.
Okay, even if they change the direction, I don't see it achieving the set of this. Do you know the reason why? Now we have what I would call institutional vote buying.
How?
If you now say, okay, you pensioners, we know you are suffering, take this 10 million, go and share it. So I now look at it and say, okay, if for instance, I'm a contestant,
but when I may take and put my mind.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
If I now release 10 million, when they share it down the line, I'm not sure somebody will go home with 2,000 naira because of the sheer number of this one. Then two, she has mentioned something that is very jamming. And I see a critical issue in that. And the linkage between these people, the core voters, and the people I always refer to as the dog handlers. They are in every community. After the election, if somebody wants to pay GC fees for
NECO fees,
they will go to the dog gardener, collect money. He's not going to borrow them, he'll give them the money. So shortly before the election, some of the voters will come to him, Baba, Dolafe Dibosi, where are we going to vote? And like you rightly mentioned, that's one layer. There's another layer whereby canvassers will go in to meet those people. That of the party members are different. When you see them sharing rice and whatever, it's for party members. Unless it's in a rally area where they will be throwing Coca-Cola, throwing biscuits and all that one is. But the real voter inducement takes place when they use people, when they do what was to call, they move from one
points to the other, one village to the other, one home from the other.
They will knock your door, maybe around 7 p.m. Say, Mama, we know you've always been with us, this and that. So this time around, we want to give you this small thing. So immediately Mama collects 10 kg of semo, and maybe with 2,000 to say there. So that would be the end.
We go to pray.
So if anybody doesn't even follow the Mama, they will have educated him, Mama, they will give him a sheet of paper. This is how they even educate him, just do it like this. Bam! Believe it. This is our
time is against us. So let's get to the second topic. We will come to appeal to the side of our leaders, the buyers and the sellers. The Almighty God, let them have change of mind as far as the political
very complex
of this political emancipation of this country is concerned. We'll go to the second topic, and see here I'm coming to you. 62% Nigerians without electricity, and another one is that's Silva, Minister of State, Petroleum, and said even 90% had no access to modern cooking fuels. You see that as being an acceptance of failure from the Home Minister of State, Petroleum.
Thank God it's coming from one of the ministers, and like I used to say that one of the promises made by this government in 2015, this issue of power. They're going to do something that they're not going to do. And unfortunately, they're not coming out to giving us this figure, 62% of the population. It's a monumental failure. It's a monumental failure. Because as we speak, I don't know why our government still, when it comes to the issue of this amending the constitution, I don't know why it's now become so rigid for them to do what is normal, what is right, what is just. I said it was not maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago on this program that there are some things that we need to remove from this exclusive list of the constitution. So to allow states to have some input, to have some direction, to have to develop. And this issue of power is one of them.
Okay.
It's one of them.
Well, I want to quote Tim Silva now. He said, I'm quoting him, previous studies have presented Nigeria as an energy poor country. The question somebody is asking, previous studies, then when will Nigeria have this relief? If you know there are previous studies of Nigeria being an energy poor country, is it insufferable? And when will Nigeria have relief?
I think it's quite unfortunate that the way we look at issues here basically borders on if I find myself in office A or B, what do I appropriate into my pocket? If not so, government year in, year out, they've been talking about ending gas flaring in this country that I know for more than 40 years. And nothing has been done. about it. Today, a kg of gas is eating 1,000 naira, and we are flaring gas away. Some people will tell you that the economics of getting those gas for our use, it doesn't add up. And I say, so the one that makes sense is for you to go and be importing the gas. And you say deforestation.
One of the gas producers in the country, in the world.
So because we are a very, very chaotic country, we don't even want order. So if up till now, a nation of over 200 million, we've not been able to hit 7,000 megawatts. We've not. Maybe in the last 20 years, we've not been able to do it. Whereby some African countries generate 15,000, 20,000 megawatts. I think basically where the problem is that there's no willpower to do it. And the energy sector has become an area whereby fraudulent people thrive. So it's so difficult. And maybe
how difficult?
It is because most places where you have players in the oil and gas industry, it goes with blood. It's that bad. You know, it is a natural resource that people see, particularly in this climate. This is a free thing. Just try. That's why we have so many points whereby there are leakages. That if you pump oil, you pump crude from Port Harcourt, before it gets to point B or C, half of it is gone. Crude oil theft. So these are issues. But as per the issue of power, direct, a huge country like this cannot be talking of one useless national grid. Which national grid? When we can make use of wind, solar, coal. So there is abundance of coal in Enugu. In the UK, they are still using coal to produce energy. So what's our problem? But every other thing to those policymakers, when they start a policy now, we don't have a long-term thing.
Okay.
That's part of the problem.
See, some analysts suggested a return of the power plants to the government, in a sense, cancel the privatization. You see it making any difference?
I think we will discuss it I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now. Even the national president of the NLC was asking the federal government to take over I was like, how? Because it is not a issue of maybe taking it over, returning back to the federal government.
Because you see, maybe when it was with federal government, maybe some relief. And the purpose of getting privatized, you see it not being defeated. Because the reason is that there will be abundance and either generation and distribution. You see the provision being achieved.
Let me cite this state. Let me use this state as an example, Lagos State. At least as at last year, 2021, the numbers of population given to us, I think around over close to 15 million population in Lagos State. And in 2020, I think Governor Sanwo-Olu released a policy document. He said Lagos will need 9,000 megawatts to drive the economy, to have power, steam power, power supply. If Lagos only, we need 9,000, and that is just close to 15 million population, and the whole Nigeria over 200 million. We are still struggling. We are sharing less than 4,000 megawatts. So you don't ask about it. Even South Africa, you know the numbers of mega they run. So it is an issue of maybe returning back to the federal government. It is issue of, firstly, like I said, issue of legislation. Let us give states, like
devolution of power.
He said, Enugu State, even Osun here, we can use this waterfall. Because what we need is just the force of the water to drive the turbine. So we can use the waterfall and other state. So let us give them this, let us each state to drive this power. instead of deciding within the federal government power to do everything. So if you can do this, it is not even if they return back to the federal government, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not Buhari that will go to Gandhi down to drive the power. So it's falling issue of legislature. Let us give states freedom to power to generate power in their own states. Okay. Then we now know what to do again.
Well, aside what she just said, recent data showed a drop in capacity of Nigeria's 26 power plants. Note it, Nigeria has 26 power plants. From the 26 power plants, from which approximately can generate 13,461 megawatts. But up to now, they can generate 4,022 megawatts.
Well, even with when you do need assessments, she has mentioned Lagos now. If we are saying, okay, what we are targeting is that 13,000 there, it's still grossly inadequate. Because, and that's why there have been this idea that let us look at our laws. And when we look at the Constitution, the federal government has appropriated so many things to itself, including the issue of power, the issue of rail transportation. There are so many. I think I read the Dawn documents, the development agenda for Western Nigeria. If we look at our laws, then you see those in the Dawn environment saying, okay, let's have a railway network. They have it in that plan that will move around all the state capitals. So that will engender trade among themselves. But that is not the case now. For power, a state like Sokoto has no business on the national grid. When there's abundance to give them electricity. Lagos, for instance, can generate a lot of electricity through wind, very close to the sea there. So if we have that kind of approach, maybe in Oshoya, can we look at if we generate so amount of electricity, we can sell part of it to Ondo. So, and we have waters that will be used for those things there. And everybody is hampered. It's the federal government that has appropriated everything. So it makes it difficult for we could recollect the experience of Tinubu in Lagos. They brought those badges. They did it.
It worked.
It worked. And to start it, they said no. You must put it in the national grid. That's why we are today.
Okay. So let me have your final take. Yeah, aside the issue of devolution of power to states on electricity or power, well, you see federal government taking sincere step because of look at the recent change in the board and management of discos by the government. 5 of them: Kano, Benin, Kaduna, and Ibadan. And Port Harcourt was, according to the NERC, National Electricity Regulation Company, it says Port Harcourt is insolvent and risk of collapse. Now that the change of management and board of those discos having identified, well, following the advice of the CBN, according to and of course that of the Bureau of Public Health, you see an improvement.
The first thing remains that you can only give what you have. You cannot give what you don't have. So issue of power. Even if you like, go and bring Jesus to where once you are able to, is what you generate that you can distribute. It's very simple. So it's not until we now try to think
about the issue now is distribution according to the NEC, NERC. There's not maybe it's not about having identified the CBN and the Bureau of Public Enterprise. They are not talking about generation now, but distribution, and that's why they are taking over the management and board of those 5.
How many megawatts are we distributing? Less than 4,000. So with that, the problem is not about this, it's not about distribution. What we have now is less than 4,000 megawatts for the whole over 200 million in Nigeria. So it is not about taking up the structure or this and not until we are able to generate more power. Even I saw a report recently that if you say that if we can add coal to complement what we have in the year 2030, at least we should be able to generate like 50,000 megawatts, and it's achievable, it's doable.
Okay. Shall we go to the third topic? Well, I'm coming from you, and I'm coming to you. Federal government to Britain, it is time to return our looted artifacts. Recent step, some of these are stolen, don't forget, centuries back. And you see the recent step by the federal government, under pressure on British, to exacting looted cultural and historical works of art. You see it making headway. When you look at those ones already recently released to Benin Kingdom. What?
Nothing is impossible. I think the federal government is trying to put that pressure on Britain. For instance, Minister of Information and Culture met officials in the UK and said, Germany, who is not even our colonial master, return this thing. That there is no basis for you people to hold on to those things because it does not belong to you in the first instance. And let us look at the other side. There is this economic issue to it. Some people pay to see those things. So if you have stolen something and you are generating money by holding on to it, then it becomes another issue. Because and maybe that is why up to today we don't have that culture of having museums here and there. But a lot of people just let them just go and bring the artifacts. But personally, I think it's time for the federal government to put good money into museums.
Okay. See, we have information. Some of these artifacts stolen more than 124 years ago. Some stolen since 1905, and do you see previous government not being interested in repatriating some of those artifacts?
They should.
But they weren't until this recent government.
One thing I want us to know is that Nigeria is a country that is not. It's our country, but we need to see the truth. It's not well organized. So, and this Britain can leverage on anything, even to cheat us. If we bring this thing today, like where are we putting them? So, not until
it's all about that. Is that the reason why we mustn't have our artifacts stolen by British soldiers centuries ago?
Yes, it's ours. Yes, it's ours. The first thing is that there are some ways also they are trying to they are leveraging on not to return this thing back to Nigeria. They are aware that it belongs to us, and I think Minister of Information and Culture said something that was last year. They also made that same request that this thing returning back to us. It is our even Germany that is not our colonial master. They have
returned theirs, including France, Canada signing an agreement to return those ones stolen.
You that are our guy, why are you now doing this thing back? It is our. We are ready to take it. Bet also I want to believe Britain also trying to be leveraging on some things, particularly the way we do our.
Well, one of those things UK seems to be leveraging on is laws, legislation, and I'm already saying the minister is that no, I'm quoting now. No act of hiding under legislation should be strong enough to keep our stolen artifacts to become theirs. That was very.
Yeah, because you cannot legitimize
what is all yours. Stolen goods.
Stealing. Because if you now say let us hold on to it, it's so clear these are stolen
goods.
artifacts. It's not that somebody said, take. They invaded the Benin Palace and carted those things away. They invaded all those areas. They came in there, do excavations and remove those things and take it away. Even some in the palaces, they took them away. You know, so I think they may not be saying, okay, and we don't say it's not your own, it's you are the owner. But we won't like a situation whereby when we return it to you, it will go bad. Okay. So they may not likely say, okay, go and create the enabling environment that you are going to put it there and there. But for us, we don't see all those things that falls under the purview of tourism as in an area where other countries are generating millions of dollars every year. Okay. We don't see it as an economic something. So that's where the problem is.
See, your last take. Some people suggested even payment of reparation by UK government. like Wally said, it became an economic thing. People paying over there in UK museum to pay for tourism, and some people are saying they must pay reparation aside the stolen thing. Those money that have been used in dollars to watch those artifacts over there when they were stolen.
They are very correct. Very, very correct. But I want to say this. Even in Osun here, you have as many as tourist centers. How are we developing them? Are we really looking at that as a way of to generate funds for the state? Because only what you are interested in is just to wait after the head of the month to go to Abuja to collect our share. Not until we now try to look around and to, because one day we go back to buy. That's about point. So that is not until also we are trying to show our culture, see this that this is ours, so they will not take us serious. But those that are making that request, they are very correct.
What is your last take on reparation?
Well, it's good to ask for it, because I doubt if anything like that will come. We should be concerned about getting those things back first, and ensure that it's not just about getting them and putting them somewhere to rot away. It's by doing everything to ensure that we now turn it into something that we now develop a culture of our people going to taking their children to those museums to go and watch them, so that we can generate money from them.
Time is against us. What? We are. I'm very convinced we have exhausted all the topics. What did I mean?
It's my pleasure.
See.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me this week.
It's tomorrow when we hope to be back in the newsroom. My name is Oladipe. Bye bye.